Yes.
And we can't get that water.
Oh, yes, we do.
We pump it back up.
During the 5-year drought, did any of you suffer with unavailability of water? Semi-tropic is what it's called. Is east of Bakersfield. Is where we bank water. We have contracts where we bank water, and we get that water up through San Luis. It's pumped back up. And here. Now, here's what's interesting. You guys are triggering a lot of information out of me. So we have 3 reservoirs that we're currently and going into contract with. One is very close. It's Los Vaqueros in Contra Costa County. Huge dam, and they're going to expand it. We will be entering into a contract with that dam organization to bank water locally. How do we get it here? We'll have to build a pipeline from Contra Costa through East Bay Mud, which will connect with PUC San Francisco, which is the Hetch-Hetchy pipeline, into Santa Clara County. That'll give us an additional local source of water that we'd be banking locally. Pacheco Dam that you heard me mention to a minute ago, a new dam, which is 20 years out, will also be a water bank. In addition, a new dam that's being proposed by the state of California north of Shasta called Sipes. It's about a 300 to a half a billion acre feet of water. It's going to be the single largest dam anywhere.
Bigger than Shasta then?
North of Shasta.
Okay, but it's bigger than Shasta?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. But that's 20, 30 years out. So we're looking at all these options about how do we capture water, how do we keep the water during a drought year so that none of you are ever concerned about water availability. Yes?
So with what our levels are now, John, how long can we go if we went through a drought again? 2-3 years plus the banking, or, because we're at full level?
Well, times that the amount of population and growth that we're experiencing here, all the development that we're experiencing, both residential, industrial, commercial, that's affecting water supply, more demand on water supply. So it's an algebraic problem here. We've got to figure out what's more important.
A year or two, maybe.
I couldn't give you that estimate.
Yeah.
There's no way I can give you that. We went through a 5-year drought. 5 years. Nobody suffered. We had to cut back. We were inconvenienced, but nobody had no water available to them, at least not from us. And I don't think anywhere in the state. Okay? Let's move on.
One more question.
Sure.
I read a few months ago, and I don't remember if NASA again was involved in this prediction, that in 300 years there will be no underground water left. 0. Have you heard that?
No.
With the growth of the population, the
300 years?
Billions, 3 billion people in the next 20 years and more.
We're not planning that far out. Not to make fun, just to say, we look at 20, 30, 40, 50 years out in our vision and our growth but we're estimating the growth of the area is. I've not heard what you're suggesting. I don't know that information. But think about this for a minute. Are we manufacturing new water? How long has this water been here? Since the beginning of time. Billions of years, this water has been recycled. The dinosaurs and all those other people that inhabited did their business in the water. That's what we're drinking. That's what we're consuming. It's the same water. We're not making new water. So we have to preserve it, we have to care for it, we have to make sure that it's available for our ancestors that were behind us 500 years, that we're looking forward for the next 500 years. Okay.
We didn't have that many people.
We didn't.
In the dinosaur.
You're right.
What about the water in Pacific Ocean? I mean,
that's a very good question.
Successful.
Yeah, that's a very good question.
What was the question?
What about the ocean water? Okay, so you guys are asking good questions. The population of the planet has grown exponentially beyond any other creatures on this planet. We have done a very good job of creating extinction among other forms of life on this planet, where the population of the human species has grown exponentially. I've been very fortunate. I've traveled all over the world, and I've seen how people live in less fortunate areas than we are, where water is not available as it is to goes here. And many of these countries, they do not respect our Mother Earth as we have learned to do. So they put their sewage, they put their garbage, they put all their waste, and it goes right into their water systems and into the ocean. Are you aware of the volume of waste that's floating just west of Seattle? It's the size of Rhode Island. It's floating out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. How many of you are aware of this? And you know what that is? Plastic containers, polyethylene bags, coffee cups, all that cannot be biodegradable results. So, as a water resource, the Pacific Ocean could very well be through desalination. Australia, Israel, in Southern California, the city of San Diego just launched their new desal plant a year ago. We're looking at that. When I say we, the district, it's very expensive. There's a byproduct called brine that comes from the extraction of seawater. We could clean it up, we could make it potable, you could drink it. But there's a byproduct. And that byproduct has to be put somewhere, not back into the ocean. But desal is here, it's part of the world that's using it, and we're looking at that here in the future. But that's far on. And it's also an extremely expensive process to go.
And energy intensive.
Pardon me?
And energy intensive.
Yes. Okay, anything else? So let's move on. Oh yeah, purifying water. How many in this room have visited our water purification facility in San Jose? See, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here is something I think those of you that have not. The Water District considers this water purification our sustainable water supply for the future. What we do is we take tertiary water, we take wastewater that you flush down your toilet, down your sinks, and we clean it up, and it runs through a process, and it becomes potable, drinkable water. Would you drink it? How many tasted the water? Raise your hand. All right. The astronauts have been doing it since they've been going up in space. They've been taking waste, and human waste, and turning it into potable drinking water. I see the yuck factor looking right at me. I saw that face. Yeah, we call it yucky water. But I'm saying this to you. It's a reliable, sustainable water supply, and we're going to be building the facility out that we have currently, which we're producing close to 7 million gallons a day today, potentially, to 45 million gallons per day. And we're going to be able to inject that water into our wells, which will be co-mingled with our treated water to provide an additional water supply for you. Not yet. We haven't got our permits to do that just yet. But if you haven't toured this facility, do it, because this is what it's going to be in the future. Highly, highly recommend that you do this.
I toured it and I recommend it to anybody here. It's a very good tour.
Now, how you do that is you contact our water district, valleywater.org, go on the Purified Water Reliability, and they can arrange a tour for groups to come to our facility and do it. If you take 10, 15, 20 people, and it's a lot of fun, and you learn something, and then you can teach what you learn. Right, Yolanda?
Right.
All right. I'm glad you don't disagree with me.
No.
Okay, we have a kind of a comprehensive water system. And this is the map of Santa Clara County. Just to give you all the pipes, the infrastructure, the rivers, the streams. So here's what we have within our village. We have 10 dams and surface water reservoirs. We have 3 pumping stations. Pumping stations, by the way, are all in Santa Clara County, San Jose. Do you know where they are? We have one Coyote. We have one in Los Gatos, and we have one in Penitencia. We have 275 miles of streams, 142 miles of pipelines that we manage. And by the way, people say to us, well, where does my money go when I pay for water? What else is it used for? Well, we have infrastructure, pipelines that get the water treatment plants to your faucets and your drinking water. And those are aging. All that infrastructure is aging. So we're in there constantly every day of the week, making sure that we're in full repair and that no one suffers. That when you pick up that glass of water, it doesn't smell funny, it doesn't taste funny, it doesn't look odd, and you drink it with confidence. That's what we do for you every day. We have 400 acres of recharge ponds, which we talked about earlier, 600 acres of restored habitat, which is very important because we're in the creeks, constantly doing that, 100,000 parcels protected from flooding, 121 billion gallons of water for annual usage. That's what your water district
around that whole bottom section because of the rising sea level?
Yeah, what's going on there is that's a seashore restoration.
Oh.
Through the entire bay bank is we're working with the Army Corps of Engineers. Good question. We just had a tour. The Army Corps came out, and we do everything with the federal government when it comes to major projects. And the Army Corps, they come out, they do all their preliminary, and they work with the district, and they work through all the water agencies up and down the state throughout the United States. And we're very fortunate. We have a major office here in San Francisco, and we have a very good working rapport with the Army Corps. We had a meeting with them about a month ago, and they told us about the schedule of work that they're going to be doing along the bay shore, and that's part of probably what you saw. And it's very visible. You can go out and see them doing this work, shoring up the banks, making sure that we don't get saltwater intrusion into our water tables. Very important. Okay? All right. You've all heard about this. You know what this is? This is the single largest dam in Santa Clara County, about 3 miles from where I live. This is Anderson Dam. It was built in the 1950s. It was not built as a... Now picture what this region looked like 67 years ago. This was all agriculture. You're sitting on an orchard, where we are right here. This was called the Valley of Arts Delight. We went from processing apricots and apricot chips to rebranding ourselves to Silicon Valley, manufacturing and selling microchips. That's who we are today. This was not a flood protection dam. This was built to supply water to all the ag users up and down this area. When it flooded here 60 years ago, the farmers left because it was free water. Now, what do we have today? Fast forward to what we have. We have infrastructure. We have housing. We have schools. We have people. We are retrofitting this dam. The Department of Safety of Dams has said that there are visual fissures and seismic fissures that could create a major earthquake at the base of the dam. So the area that you see right up front where the spillage is, that is all going to be dismantled, torn down, and rebuilt.